Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
All I got to say is, who dat? Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. On this edition, we're going to be talking about the Week 18 matchup, the New Orleans Saints taking on the Atlanta Falcons in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And we all know what this actually means, that this game that started off with little significance has huge significance for other teams. We know that if the New Orleans Saints were to knock off the Atlanta Falcons, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would make the playoffs. Now, if the Atlanta Falcons knock off the Saints, then the Carolina Panthers make it to the playoffs and win the division. So the division is indeed on the line. Whoever wins this game benefits rather the Carolina Panthers or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But that's neither here nor there, right? What we're going to be talking about is the Saints versus Falcons, one of the most historic rivalries in football. We know that there is no love lost between Saints and Falcons. The fans go at it every single time these teams have to match up. And right now, you can make an argument that although that both of these teams are eliminated from playoff contention, these are the two best teams in the NFC South, and they will do battle. Now, the last time the Atlanta Falcons played the Saints inside the Caesar Superdome, it was a very young, very inexperienced Tyler Shuck, who was starting in what I want to say maybe his third game of his career. But now we know that over the last few weeks, Tyler Shuck has been putting together some really good football as of late. Now, we know that this is going to be a really, really tall task for the New Orleans Saints offense. I mean, we know that Chris Olave will not be playing in this game. Unfortunately, earlier in the week, he was hospitalized with blood clots in his lungs. And that's something that you do not want to hear. That is something that's extremely dangerous. So I'm glad that the New Orleans Saints organization caught it. I'm glad that the medical staff caught it in order for Chris Olave to be on a speedy recovery. We don't want to see anything happen to the guy. But it's going to be a next man up mentality of epic proportions if the New Orleans Saints can somehow be formidable offensively in this game versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, we know that the Falcons defense is really good this season. We know that they can get after the quarterback. They got some very talented guys on the defensive side of the football. You know, you got Jalen Walker, the rookie. You got James Pierce, another rookie, guys that they actually sacrificed a lot in order to bring to the team. But it seems like it is paying dividends. Then you got Leonard Floyd over there. You had Brandon Dorless, who is going to be out. But from what I hear, it was nothing but a hamstring injury. So it looked like it was much worse on Monday night, but he was able to just have a hamstring injury. So he can get himself back on the field as soon as possible. And then you got Xavier Watts out there, man. You got some talented players on this team, man. I mean, it is a really good defense, and it's going to be tough for the New Orleans Saints to go out there and be able to perform offensively. And it's going to have to start with, Tyler Shuck. I mean, Tyler Shuck is going to have to throw the football in order for the Saints to win. Now, I like what I saw out of Altric Estimate last week. He had 94 yards on the ground. The Saints were committed to the run, and he was able to break off a few. But the New Orleans Saints offense, I mean, you think about who they're going to be missing in this game. I mentioned Chris Olave. He's not going to be playing in this game. We know that the Saints traded Rashid Shaheed to the Seattle Seahawks. Brandon Cooks got traded to the Buffalo Bills. So they're basically going to be going out there with a bunch of practice squad guys, probably Mason Tipton, probably Dante Pettis, Kevin Austin, and Juwan Johnson is probably going to be the most formidable pass catching guy that you actually have out there, although he plays tight end. So the Saints are going to have to figure something out offensively, and the offensive line is going to have to give Tyler Shough time in order for him to be able to make plays. Now, I don't know if Tyler Shough is still dealing with a hip injury. He has been on a report for about 2 weeks now, but the Saints are going to have to open up the playbook. They're going to have to allow Tyler Shough to maybe get involved in the RPO action, or they're going to have to use Taysom in a certain type of way of RPO if Tyler Shough isn't mobile enough for their liking, still dealing with that hip injury. But they're going to have to get him outside of the pocket. You cannot keep him inside of the pocket because the interior of that offensive line indeed struggles. And we know that the Atlanta Falcons are going to know that, and they're going to put pressure in the face of Tyler Shough, which is going to cause him to be on the ground. Now, I don't expect for Tyler Shough jersey to be completely clean in this game. I expect for the Atlanta Falcons to sack him a couple times, but not to a point where it just affects the game completely. So these wide receivers are going to have to step up. These running backs are going to have to step up, and the Saints are going to have to sustain their drives, especially on third down. As far as the defense is concerned, Demario Davis, upon the making of this video, is questionable. I would believe that Demario Davis would play in this game, final game of the season. It's going to have to take something monumental to be going on with his limbs in order for him not to be in the game. So if Demario Davis isn't out there, it's going to be tough. But if Demario Davis is out there in the middle telling the defense what to do, it can be extremely helpful. But if he's out there and the Saints are still concerned about his calf, he may be on a snap count. So that's going to allow some of these younger linebackers to step up. Guys like Danny Stutzman to be able to go out there, Jalen Ford to go out there. You know, you got to be able to pick up the slack, and you have to be able to tackle, which leads me to running back Bijan Robinson, who is coming off a monster game on Monday night, over 220 all-purpose yards against the Los Angeles Rams, and you know they're going to want to run the football with him again. He was the offense last week, or this week rather. I guess you can say last week. It would happen on a Monday. He was the sole reason why they won that football game. I mean, I don't believe Drake London did anything. I don't remember Kyle Pitts doing anything, Darnell Mooney. I don't remember any of those guys really doing anything of any significance. So the New Orleans Saints are going to have to neutralize Bijan Robinson. They're going to have to get this guy on the ground. You cannot try to wrap your arms around him. He is going to break off of that. He's extremely nifty. He's elusive. So the New Orleans Saints are going to have to make sure that they get him on the ground every single time. As far as Kirk Cousins, we know that Kirk Cousins isn't going anywhere. He's going to stay in that pocket. But credit to the offensive line of the Atlanta Falcons. The Rams tried to pressure Kirk Cousins. They could not get to him. So the New Orleans Saints are going to have to find creative ways in order to get to Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is the type of quarterback that does not want to take a sack. So with that, he kind of puts the ball into harm's way. If the Saints can get enough pressure on Kirk Cousins and, you know, forcing him to throw the ball a little bit early, it can set up opportunities for a turnover. These cornerbacks and safeties are going to have to be on the same page. There were a few plays last week against the Titans where you've seen a secondary kind of going back and forth, jaw-jacking with one another in regards to where a person needed to be on their defensive assignment. But you cannot do that in this game with Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is enough of a veteran quarterback to have seen so many different defenses, and if you're not on the same page, he can pick you apart. He still has that going for his game. Special teams. The special teams of Atlanta has struggled throughout the season. The New Orleans Saints have an opportunity to maybe play field position there. If Mason Tipton can come back off injury, he has been doing a really good job since Rashid Shaheed has left the team. In kick returns, he has really set the Saints up in some really good field position. So if Mason Tipton can do that in this game, then it will be beneficial. And also, if the defense of the Atlanta Falcons gets stopped, Charlie Smith is going to have to make these field goals. That's just the way that it's going to go. It's going to have to take a collective effort from offense, defense, and special teams based on what the Saints are going to be missing in this game in order for them to pull it off. But I still believe in this New Orleans Saints team. I still feel like they have what it takes to beat the Atlanta Falcons. You have to be able to neutralize Bijan Robinson and make sure that Drake London doesn't go off. If that happens, then I feel like the New Orleans Saints can win this game in a low-scoring battle. I'm going to say the New Orleans Saints are going to win this game 19-13 and finish the season off strong and going into 2026 and allowing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you're welcome, to make the postseason. But I would love to hear from you. What do you think about the Saints-Falcons Week 18 matchup? How do you think that's going to play out? Which NFC South team is going to win a division? Comment down below, like and share this video. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, my name is TJ Jones. Follow me on X at TJAYJones8. Really do appreciate your time. Till next time, all I got to say is,
thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
all I got to say is, who dat?